we have to do energetic things.
Do the things,
to
all the
get to the
things.
point where it's live so you can see it. Okay, we're live now. Okay, I'll stop doing that.
Fabulous.
Welcome to Dispatches from the Front again. We're back. We're talking about topics that are relevant today, now. They're not evergreen topics. They are very specific things that we're seeing on the front in real estate for sellers and buyers. So let's jump into it. Chris, we're seeing a softening in the market, but that doesn't mean that we're seeing a shift towards a buyer's market. What does that mean as softening in the market? What are you seeing as far as that market change?
Correct. So obviously, COVID caused some craziness, and we are starting to work our way out of that, it appears. Buyers are less likely to do crazy things now. They're becoming a little more in tune with I don't want to, or I'm going to put my search on pause. So we're seeing some of that. Buyers that are still actively looking are trending back towards normalcy, if you will. Things selling for list price finally. So two examples we've come up with recently. We got one home under contract at list price, and we're actually able to do a full inspection on it. Another example being we got one slightly under list price, again, doing pre-inspection on that one. So I think things are starting to right themselves on their own, as we see with humanity in general often, right? And things are getting a little bit back to normal. So it's kind of my spiel on it currently.
Right. And it's, for those, for a little bit of context, for those of you that are watching, what Chris is referring to is when people started, waving their firstborn child addenda and, all of the things. It's a joke, but, it's the people were pretty much doing anything to get a house above and beyond, waiving financing contingencies, which is, I've had multiple lenders say, don't do that. Even for they wouldn't do that for their own purchase. So these types of things where people are pulling all the stops out to make it happen, going insanely above asking price, $200,000 above asking price. For those of you that are searching right now or agents watching this, I mean, you all know what I'm talking about. And the cool part is that when a market cools off a little bit, that doesn't mean that the market in Bellingham or Ferndale or Linden or even Blaine for that matter are less hot. It just means that when everything's hot, the whole Whatcom County market is hot. You see this no matter what houses are selling within a weekend. Now you're starting to see the first places to cool off are not those 3-bedroom, 2 baths in Geneva and Bellingham, as an example, or core neighborhood in Ferndale, or even Linden and parts of Blaine as well. So, but we're starting to see the areas that are not those really hot points in Whatcom County start to cool off first.
Yep.
So again, this doesn't mean that if you're going to buy a house in Bellingham, that does not mean that the market has cooled off. It means that in the fringe areas, the outside areas, that's where we're seeing those homes sitting on. From a listing perspective, we're seeing those homes sit on the market just a little bit longer, and maybe we're taking a contingent offer. Maybe there's a full-on inspection. Can you believe it? A full-on inspection, right?
A real negotiation about the health of a home and what may need to be tackled in the near future.
Yeah.
What a
Dust off,
concept.
dust off.
Yeah, do you remember how to use a 35R still? Because we may have
Yeah,
forgotten.
they're still there, that's for sure. But I think the key is for all of you out there that have been looking, whether you're working with an agent, you are an agent, you're just starting your home search, don't give up. And that's the biggest kind of the resilience piece is what we've been really hammering home with all of our buyers that are looking for homes, first time, 10th home, investment property. Just be patient, right? And sometimes you don't have that ability to be patient because there's a push because you're getting kicked out of your house or whatever, maybe are moving for work. But ultimately, that's the people that I've seen have the most success in this market are the people that have been patient and taking the time up front. Again, this is our theme of preparation, like being really prepared, taking the time to be educated, getting real with the market and being like, I don't necessarily like this scenario, but it is the reality. And if I want to succeed in this reality, I have to kind of wise up and do it. And as an example, Emily and my wife and I just bought a house, and I'm an agent, and I went through the exact same thing. It doesn't change because I'm an agent. I didn't get a screaming deal. I like it's just the market. So coming to reality, if you want to own a house in this market, there's just there's certain steps you have to take, education you used to have, and you have to just say, I accept you, market. Yeah. What are
And
your thoughts on that?
as a buyer, remember that every house, I mean, yes, the journey is all very similar, right? You all have the same goal, but every house is a different a different strategy and a different situation, right?
Yeah,
So you
agreed.
have to keep that in mind too. You have to take a look at what's in front of you and decide, in this specific situation with this specific house, how do I attack this? You know, is this something that I may be able to negotiate under list price? Is it something I should just accept as is because that's the way it's being sold? You know, what is the situation with this particular property and what wiggle room we have? You know, keeping in mind that list price, market value, and the appraised value should all be pretty much in alignment, right? If the listing agent has done their job well and really addressed the market correctly, and the seller is in alignment with them, that list price you're seeing, the sticker price, if you will, should be correct, right? You can second that with your own research, but it's based on fact, it's based on market data, and it should be the true value of that house. So paying over is fine. You have to decide how comfortable you are with that, with your own intention with the property, whether it be short term, long term, right? But you know, list price is more of a normal place we should be living in, and then being able to negotiate inspections. That way, you know, if the roof sucks and it needs to be a total redo, it's at the end of its life. Well, we should be able to talk about that and maybe come up with a compromise, right? So. That's all things that we used to do pre-COVID, of course, and more of an even ground. So let's just hope we're trending back that direction. I'm also looking forward to having a little bit more time. I'm not a big person of making choices same day. I like for people to be able to sleep on them and talk to each other and address them and ask questions. So, you know, if homes are sitting on the market for 2 weeks to a month before they sell, it gives plenty of time for showings, plenty of time for you to decide how your offer looks. There's just a lot more thought and comfort that gets put into that rather than making all these rushed and very drastic choices.
Yeah, and two things I'm really hearing as a theme with what Chris just said are don't ever assume anything. Don't assume that this next house that you're looking at is the same as the previous house, right? You know, you can in that crazy time around February, March, April when we're I would say most real estate brokers and economists and people that are just analyzing what's happening are going, what the heck is going on here right now? 30 offers on a house, 200,000 above asking price. Most people were just like, we just this is just the current reality. But the biggest thing we can't do is be jaded by that and take that as this is a reality. Every month is a new reality. It's just a slight shift for those that are very much immersed in it. So if you're not immersed in it every day, that's the whole point of this segment, is to say this is what's happening now. And I'm urging everybody just to not make assumptions. Just because one house sold with 10 offers on it doesn't mean the next house you look at is going to have 10 offers on it. We can assume worst case scenario and be prepared for that to happen if it might happen,
Yep.
but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. So it's important that your broker or you are asking all the right questions, like what is most important to the seller? When do they need to be out? You know, what is the most important thing to them? And you know, at the end of the day, not assuming, and also the seller being happy with market price.
Yep.
I mean, that's still really good. Like it's not bad to not get multiple offers and above asking price.
True.
Typically means that you've priced it correctly. Anything else on that topic that you can think of?
Nope,
Because
I think
you've been really immersed in it last week.
that's for
Yeah,
sure. Two more clients under contract and rolling right along.
yeah,
So, nope, I'm really excited to be ending the summer here soon. The weather is already starting to shift. So, super excited to get into a new season and keep helping people achieve those dreams and getting what they need in life.
yep. You have questions about anything we just talked about? You can message us on social media. You can reach out to us personally and directly. Have a great day, everybody.
See